Alright, we are back with the LS6 swap Datsun 510. After a few months of it being up on stands, we finally got it back on the ground and wanted to give you guys a quick update. What is going on, guys? Awesome G back with the branded video, and again, just want to give you guys a quick update on the 510. So for about 8 months, the car was sitting up on stands. We were waiting on a new kit from Apex Engineered, because I did explain in my last video that we were having some issues with the rear end kits. So they finally set another one out about three weeks ago, and we still did have some issues with the new one. We had to do a lot of cutting and grinding to get this one to fit, but we finally got it in, finally got the car on the ground, which I'm super stoked about. And then now it's on to the next step, which is going to be the roll cage, the firewall, and all the body work. And then after that, it'll be paint and getting the engine in, getting the car running, and that's really it. I'm hoping to have this car done by hopefully spring or summer of next year. Hopefully to have this car ready for the next fall events, like such as Good Guys, and just better weather to really drive this car around. But yeah, so we do have a ways to go. Like right now, the mock-up engine is kind of tilted, so we got to get that straightened out so we can get the firewall done, get the floor done, and also figure out the seat brackets. And then also the car came with 6-inch springs, so I just upgraded to 8-inch springs to give it more of a ride height, because the tire was rubbing up inside the fender well, so I kind of raised the car up a little bit. I'm going to be lowering the car as we get new fenders, because the ones that the car came with are all dinged up, they're all bent, and they don't align. So we're going to get all that figured out later. And then also we did tie in the rack and pinion, so that's all in. So this is what we're looking at right now. And also the next step is to get the camber plates in. I bought these camber plates off of Techno Toy Tuning, so all I got to do now is buy the top hats for the springs, and we'll get those set. But yeah, as of right now, the car is looking pretty clean. And then also, I did explain in my last video as well that the previous owner chopped up all the headlights, and there is this huge crack right here in the car. So I'm thinking about just buying a whole new rear end and just starting fresh. And also, the previous owner decided to weld aluminum into the trunk here for the gas tank, so that's going to be a little fix for us. But yeah, let me show you what we're looking like underneath. We are looking clean. We got the Techno Toy Tuning rear shocks in there as well. Yeah, it looks fantastic. Alright, so I had to come inside to finish the video because where I live, it's still 108 degrees outside, and it's freaking hot in that garage. I just couldn't focus, so decided to come inside and finish up. So, yeah. Alright, so as I did state in my last video, the first issue that I ever had with Apex was that I wasn't able to get the differential to fit inside the crossmember. If you look on the back of a R200 differential, there's like a really long hump, and that hump was hitting the little pocket before the bolts even lined up. So we did have to cut a little notch out of the differential for that little hump to fit. But the other issue that I had was that the two bolts that hold the crossmember in were not lining up. It was about like at least a ½ inch difference. So I reached out to Apex, and they did send me a second one. They fixed the issue with that pocket being too small, so they did widen that a little bit. And they did change the design so that way the hump wasn't hitting anymore. But I still had the same issue where the two bolts weren't lining up. And between the two differentials, the first one was like 49 and like a quarter, and the other one was 49 even. So the measurements were just completely different. They also forgot to weld on the brackets for the sway bar. So I did reach back out to Apex. I told them the whole situation, and they said, hey, we'll send you out a new one. Sure. It did take about 6 months for me to get a new crossmember because they were in the middle of a move. And also there was just kind of a lack of communication. So it did take a while for me to get a new one. I finally got one in 2 weeks ago. Upon of me trying to install it, we had the same issue with the first one where the differential did not fit inside that little pocket. So again, we had to revert to what we did the first time, and we had to cut a notch out of the crossmember to get it to fit. And then also, their powder coating is super thick, so we did have a really hard time getting the crossmember over the differential. So we did have to grind down a little bit of that paint for it to slide over more easier. But they did fix the issue with the bolts not lining up. They sent me a custom crossmember. But I'm not the only one that had this issue. A guy named Kevin that I know over at Third Pedal Media, he had the same issue both with the bolts not lining up and also his differential not fitting. If you see in his video, you can tell that he grinded down his differential as well. And then also he had to kind of bend the bolts in for the crossmember to fit. They did tell me that the measurements that they gave me in the first crossmember were factory measurements. So I just don't know if every car is different. I don't know if Apex is off. I'm not sure, because it's really hard to tell with these older cars if they're all made the exact same. Because there are people that have no issues, there are people that have some issues with these kits. But these are just the issues that I've ran into so far. Another thing that I'm not really a fan of the Apex kit is that on the mustache bar, if you look on their website here, so if you look on the back, they have these two little holes for you to fit a socket to mount the differential. On the mustache bar that I got, there's two little flanges on the top and bottom, and you are unable to get a socket to fit over the bolts because of those two flanges being in the way. You do have to use a wrench, and it's really hard to get a wrench onto the bolts and tighten them down. So that's one thing that I'll dock on Apex. Then also another thing too is I did buy a brake kit off of Techno Toy Tuning, and I did state in my first video that the brackets did not fit over the flanges. So Apex did state this on their website. Please note aftermarket brake kits may require some trimming for the brackets to fit over our bearing flanges. So that was not on their website when I first bought the rear end kits. They did tell me that they were working on a new design for their flanges, but I guess not anymore. But yeah, that's just the issues that I've had with Apex. I have seen other people that have different issues, some people with no issues. Again, I just don't know if every car is built the exact same. It's really hard to tell. I'm just more glad that I was able to get this one in finally and get the car on the ground. It does suck that you do have to do some modifications for a bolt-in ready kit, and I just don't want to fight anymore on getting a new one. So I'm just kind of happy now that I've gotten the car back on the ground, it's rolling, and now that we can move on to the next step. So I'm super happy. I'm super excited for the next step on continuing my build and getting this thing running. So I'm going to keep you guys updated as much as I can on this build, try to record as much as I can, document everything, and get it out there for you guys. Because I'm just super excited for this build, and I hope you guys are too to watch the progress. But I mean, that's pretty much it for this video for today. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.